Readers Entertainment Radio presents Booklights with your host, author Lisa Kessler. Booklights, where we're shining a light on good books.
Hello, everyone. Can you believe it's November? Thanks so much for being a listener of Booklights. It's as we head into Thanksgiving, we're always thinking about gratitude, and we are so grateful to our next author for coming on. If you've never read her, you're in for such a treat, and she'll probably make you hungry. But Crystal King is our author today, and if you haven't read her yet, I'll read her bio here so you can get to know her. Crystal King is the author of In the Garden of Monsters, The Chef's Secret, and Feast of Sorrow, which was longlisted for the Center for Fiction's first novel prize and was a must-read for the Mass Book Awards. She is an author, culinary enthusiast, and marketing expert, and she has taught at multiple universities, including Harvard Extension and Boston University. She resides in Boston, and you can find out more about her at her website, crystalking.com, and I did put a link to her website right there in the show notes. So feel free to hop over there, sign up for her newsletter, find out what's coming next. And without any further delay, you there, Crystal?
I am.
All right. Yeah, thanks for being on with us today. I'm really excited about your book. They sent me a copy and it's gorgeous. And do you want to tell everybody about The Garden of Monsters and why they should go grab a copy?
Yeah, and the cover is really cool.
It is very cool.
If you can't see it, I'll describe it. It's basically has this face on the front of it, which is actually taken from a real statue, which is in the garden that I wrote about.
Oh, very cool.
And the statue is one you can walk into. So there's a woman on the cover that's walking into the mouth of this monster. And so in the garden, you can actually walk into this the mouth of this ogre or orco, but it's also to be the mouth of hell. So yeah.
Did you walk in?
I have been inside, yeah.
And you made it back out.
I did. Yeah, so it's a really twisty, interesting retelling of the Hades and Persephone myth. And it's told from the point of view of a model that Salvador Dali brings to this garden of stone monsters, which is a real place, the Sacro Bosco, or the Parco di Mostri, Park of Monsters, in Italy, in Bomarzo, Italy, about an hour north of Rome. And so it's just this fun, crazy, strange book that I just had a blast writing.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I have to ask, the inspiration for the book, you obviously went to the park. Did that spark the book, or did you have the idea for the book and then go to the garden?
So I had gone to the garden. I've been there 3 times now. And I went there for the first time, like right before COVID, maybe like a year before, maybe. And I hadn't intended on writing anything about the garden, not initially, or at least not having a book set there. I had gone to Caprarola, which is in the neighboring town, while I was researching a book on a Renaissance meat carver who was a real person, a meat carver to Alessandro Farnese, the cardinal. And when we were trying to shop that book around, my agent was trying to find a buyer for that book. We were just not getting any bites. It was during the pandemic, and publishing was in a strange place. We all were in a strange place.
Right.
So I was on the phone or on Zoom, because everybody was on Zoom.
Right. We all learned to use Zoom.
Yeah. With a fellow author, Chris Walder, who wrote this Gothic novel, Unnatural Creatures. And her first novel is The Lost History of Dreams, which is also a Gothic novel as well. And I was lamenting my sorry state of not selling this book. And I said, I want to write a book that people will buy. Like, what's hot right now? And she's like, Gothics are hot, of course. So,
right.
And I thought to myself, well, if I were to write a Gothic, what would I write? And immediately this garden came to me, because it is the strangest, weirdest place. And so I thought, okay, well, if I were going to write something set there, I should look into it. And so I started going back through my photos and doing a little bit more research on the garden itself. And one of the things about the garden that's really interesting is that there's all these statues of mythological creatures, and there is the mouth of hell, where, to the underworld. There is a statue of Demeter or Ceres, if you're using the Roman name, and the Roman name for Hades is Pluto.
Mm-hmm.
And then further on in the garden, there is a bench to Persephone or Proserpina, if you and there's Cerberus, the three-headed dog. There's a temple that represents the overworld or heaven. And there's all these like statues of dragons and sirens and
Wow.
giants and they're all carved from the rock that's in the garden itself. And I thought, okay, it just like wrote itself basically, because this myth, clearly the Vicino Orsini, who designed the garden, had this myth in mind, the Hades and Persephone myth in some way. A bunch of other myths also take place in the garden, and so I thought, okay, that's perfect. And then in my research, one of the things that I discovered was that the garden, after it was created in the late 1500s, it was overgrown for almost 400 years. And it was rediscovered in the 30s and 40s by all these surrealist artists and poets that started going there, including Salvador Dali. And he went in 1948 and he filmed this little tiny movie. It's about a minute and a half long. And you can go to my website. I have a page on Salvador Dali and a page on the Sacro Bosco, on the garden itself, at crystalking.com. But the movie is on those pages. So you can see that little movie that he filmed. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to have Salvador Dali in this wild story, and I'm going to tell it from the point of view of a model he brings there. So that's how it all started. And I wrote this book in less than a year. It just like spilled out of me, and
I love it. And can you imagine being the people who rediscovered that, to be like, what's under these bushes?
Well, yeah, and some of the statues, they were really broken in a lot of cases. After this movie that Dali had created kind of sparked the interest of the world, this couple bought the garden in 1954, I think. And basically renovated the garden. So now anyone can go there and visit it.
Wow.
And they reconstructed some of like, for example, on the statue of Demeter, her nose was missing, and they reconstructed it. So if you see her now, her face looks full. And so they fixed a lot of the things that had happened. There was some like statues. There was one statue, like the head had fallen off and
whoops,
things like that. So, I mean, 400 years.
Right.
Lots of things can happen. So they reconstructed the garden to the best that they could, based on what they could understand about the garden. And there's a lot of scholars who have studied it in recent years. But yeah, it just had to have been wild to be like going through it for the first time.
Yeah, not knowing that it's there. That's wild. And do you know, in all of your research, I mean, why in the 1500s would they decide to make a rock garden of Greek mythology in Italy?
Well, so it's interesting. Excuse me. So Vicino Orsini, he was just a wealthy prince of the time, and all of these very wealthy princes in Italy, what they did is they tried to outdo each other, just like millionaires and billionaires do today, right? So
right.
And he created the garden. Gardens were a thing. Like if you had the money and the resources, you created these incredible gardens. Like if you go to Tivoli, there's a garden there that has like 10,000 water fountains in it. It's like magnificent.
Right. Versailles is shocking. It's so amazing.
Exactly. So that's like what you did. And so he wanted to do something a little bit different. And so he created this garden that was meant to shock and meant to awe. And so it's unlike any other garden of its time, since then even. I mean, and it influenced other things. There are some monsters in a couple other places in Italy that were clearly influenced by this garden. There's actually a door in a building just a few steps from on the top of the Spanish Steps, just a few steps from the steps, that it houses an archive now, and it looks like the mouth of the ogre. So
wow,
it influenced a lot of other people. And for him, it was just a place where he could bring people and they would be just wowed because it's when you go there, it's just so cool. It's beautiful and strange. And I imagine at night it was really creepy. It probably still is very creepy.
Right. Especially like, torchlight or bonfire,
Right.
they would look like they move,
During the day, it's fine. It doesn't look it's not scary at all during the day. It's just this
Right.
garden. But there were rumors that a woman died in the garden at some point. And who knows if that's true or not. And so locals apparently avoided the garden. But there were
Oh, okay.
shepherds that were like letting their sheep. There's actually some very famous photos from the 20s of this shepherd that's like got his sheep and he's standing in the mouth of the monster and the sheep are around it. Um,
Oh, very cool.
yeah, but yeah, very different place.
Well, when I was looking at your website and all your books, you are very obviously very inspired by Italian history. Are you Italian or
I
what
am
sparked that?
almost Italian.
Practically Italian. Okay.
Almost. So my husband is Italian. I have barely any Italian blood in me at all. Like the barest trace. And I had to dig back centuries into my like ancestry. And even then it's not actually Italian. It's a French woman who was married to a king of Naples who was French. So like, but in Italy.
But in Italy.
However, I just became so obsessed when I started writing these books. I originally began learning the language because of my mother-in-law, and but when my husband and I first went to Rome in 2010, we just fell in love, and so I've been learning the language ever since. My books are all set there, and learning the history and the culture. And my husband has acquired his citizenship, and he gets his passport in a few months, and
Congratulations.
yeah, and then I have to take the language test because that's a law in Italy. The spouses take a language test, and it's a pretty hard test. And I passed that this spring. So
Congratulations.
I'm all set. So that's super exciting. It opens up a lot of doors and it allows us to live and work anywhere in the EU, actually. So it's kind of cool.
Wow. Wow. So you'll have dual citizenship?
Yep. Yeah.
Wow. Very cool.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Well, that kind of taps into most of our listeners are readers and they're really interested in your writing journey and how you got started. And it sounds like going to Italy kind of sparked something, but did you always write?
Yeah, I was a writer from a very young age. Always, even, I mean, one of the earliest writing memories I have is somebody at like one of my teachers had the foresight to send me to a young writers conference when I was 10, and I got to meet Madeleine L'Engle, and that was
Ah,
the coolest thing ever as a kid.
yeah.
Loved Wrinkle in Time and her books, and so I was an English major, a literature and writing, and I wrote poetry, and I ran a literary arts journal with a friend of mine for a while, and books seemed big. They seemed like, and I'm so impatient. I thought, oh, I'm never gonna like last through a whole book. I'll get bored of that. But I got my master's in critical and creative thinking, and I did my thesis on writing exercises for writers in progress. And I took all these brainstorming exercises from the business and science sectors and transformed them into ways for authors to get their characters from one point to another.
Mm-hmm.
How do you not writing prompts like how do you think of new ideas, but literally how do you solve plot problems? And so I started shopping that around as a nonfiction proposal. And agents told me nobody knows who you are, so you need to teach, you need to write a book, or someone needs to write a book using these exercises. So I taught. I did all the universities in Boston, or all the big ones, and so I got that under my belt. And I thought I should write a book. So I started writing a book about a celebrity chef who had a magical set of knives that traveled through time. And
Oh, nice.
I may still write that book, but I needed an origin story. So I was reading this book about feasts in history by a man named Roy Strong. It's called Feast. And there's a paragraph in there about how this ancient Roman gourmand Apicius died. And he died in this totally messed up, weird way. And I thought, okay, I'm going to make that my origin story for the knives that were going to be in the Celebrity Chef book.
Right.
I just got so into it after writing the scene, which is in my book, Feast of Sorrow. I thought, I'm going to write this story. I'm going to write how this man ended up having the end of his life be like this. And so that's where it all began. And it really tapped into my love of research. And that is what that thread is that keeps me going. And then I realized just I love the stories. I love that I have always been an avid reader. I read, I could easily read 300 books a year if I had time to do it. Like just
Right. Yeah.
love to do it. And um, but now I realized I can tell these stories. I can make them up and feel really excited about it in a way that I didn't realize that until this strange way that I got into it is. And so now I'm actually starting to work on my seventh book, some of which have not been published yet, but
Right.
yeah, so this is the In the Garden of Monsters is my third. I have a book coming out next December, I think. And so, but I have three more that are like ready to go. So yeah, it's exciting.
Are the one that's coming out in December, is it connected to any of the other books, or are they all standalone?
They're all standalone. I do
Okay.
have some ideas about a trilogy that we'll see where that goes. But yeah, right now they're standalone. And so the book I have coming out next year is also about some ancient Greek gods, but they're a little bit more obscure, and it's a contemporary book. And there's no
Oh,
food in that one, which is weird because all my
no
books.
food. What?
I know I really went off the rails.
Well, everybody needs to cleanse their palate, right? Oh, I'm so proud of myself for that one. Okay. Um, but I was going to ask you because I found it a little bit fascinating. I had no idea that Chef's Secret, when I was looking at that book, I had no idea that, I don't know if you say it Lapra or La Opera, I don't know, but I didn't
Lafra.
realize, I didn't realize that that was a cookbook. So I'm from San Diego, and there was a Lapra cafe right near where the San Diego Opera does their stuff. So I always thought it was connected with the opera. I did not
Oh,
realize that
it
it was a
is though.
best-selling cookbook.
Well, so l'opera it means the opera, but
Right.
opera doesn't necessarily mean just music. It means the work of. So, like the opera of Mozart is Mozart's work. Um,
Oh, okay.
so like the L'Opera di Bartolomeo Scoppi means the work of Bartolomeo Scoppi, and that's a cookbook. So you weren't incorrect. Thinking that was probably related to the actual opera music thing,
Right.
but yeah, so that my first book is about this ancient Roman gourmand, Apicius, whose name is on the oldest known cookbook. And my second novel, The Chef's Secret, is about Bartolomeo Scoppi, who was a Renaissance celebrity chef. And his cookbook came out in 1570 and was a best-selling cookbook for almost 200 years after he died.
That's wild. I didn't even know they had cookbooks back then.
Right. And then this book has I had learned so much during this time, and I also have the other two of my novels that I've written are about I have that they're about other obscure culinary figures in Italian history. But in the Garden of Monsters, I had all this research and knowledge from all of these different eras about the different food, and so it's a Hades and Persephone retelling, and there's pomegranates involved in this retelling. And so I thought,
Right.
hey, I can just go wild with food in this particular book. And so, and one of the things that's really cool is that, so I have feasts throughout history that take place in the book, but then Salvador Dali has a cookbook that came out in 1971. And
Wow.
it is this wild, weird art cookbook, but then it has
Uh-huh.
like this super elaborate French food in it. It also has a recipe for avocado toast.
Ah, no. He invented avocado toast.
Somebody, at least in his circle, was making avocado toast. However, his avocado toast had lamb brains in it
Ooh.
and tequila.
Wow. You
So
need the tequila so you don't taste the brains.
I suppose, yeah. I don't think you're making that for breakfast anytime soon, but yeah.
No, no. Well, I wanted to ask you if you made any of the recipes, or can you not get those ingredients from way back then?
You can pretty much get most things now. When I was working on Feast of Sorrow, it was very different. Like we're getting a lot of well, and even in the Renaissance, like getting musk, for example, which are the anal glands of the musk deer. Like not
Oh,
going to be
nah.
getting those or putting that into my food, right?
Yeah,
So
no, thank you. No, thank you.
yeah, so like there's things that we just wouldn't cook with today, but
Right.
for the most part, the Dali cookbook for most of the things that are in the novel are pretty easily made today. There are a lot of Italian dishes that we're very familiar with. I made there's a cherry rose tart that appears on the first page, which I made a recipe for, and it's delicious. It's like the favorite thing, my favorite thing I've ever made. And there's a recipe. There's recipes for all these, for not all of the dishes in the book, but for many of the dishes in this downloadable cookbook, which is also available on my site on either the Dali page or the Sacro Bosco page. And it's a free download, and there's recipes from different food bloggers and from chefs, and also some that I've interpreted, including one there's a gilded, like a golden chicken, which is
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, so that was fun. The Dali recipes are difficult because they're from French chefs that at restaurants that were really popular or very high-end like Michelin star restaurants that still exist, like Max and
wow.
one of them. I can't remember the other. There's 3 or 4 French restaurants that the recipes originally came from, but they're super elaborate and they're just not worth the energy
Right.
for most home chefs. They just aren't.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a couple recipes in the book that have been recreated to be a little bit more easier for a home chef. Like there's a recipe for snails, for example, that's
Oh.
in the cookbook. That's a lot of people may not make, but you could make it at home. So
Right, right. I don't even know where you would purchase those, but okay.
if you're in a big city, you can probably, your butcher can probably acquire something like that.
Maybe so. Yeah, that's not something you could go into the Publix or Vaughn's and
No, but you know what? You can get
okay.
pretty much anything online now. I swear you can.
Wow.
You can get most strange meats online. You can get like if you wanted to order a peacock and create something, you could order that online. You definitely.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's wild. Well, before we run out of time, what you said you have a book coming out, is it this December or next year?
Next year.
Oh, next year. Okay.
You gotta
Okay.
give this one a little runtime first.
Okay. So, everyone should go out and get The Garden of Monsters, but what are you working on now?
Oh, I have a couple ideas in the mix right now, and I'm not really in a spot to talk too much about them just
Okay.
yet.
No
But
spoilers.
but one of the ideas, but they're both set in Italy for one thing.
Mm-hmm.
One is set in Venice, one is set in Rome. These 2 ideas, and we'll see which one my editor likes best. That's really that's the issue now. It's like which one? I could
Right.
so,
You're right. Here's the
yeah.
first 3 chapters. Which one you want?
Yeah, but they're both kind of fantastical and a little bit gothic-y, and may or may not have food in them. I'm not sure yet. So
Okay. Well, if someone reads The Garden of Monsters and they're really excited, how can they get in touch with you? You're kind of a social media guru, it sounds like. So are you everywhere? How do they find you?
I am pretty much most places. I am not on Twitter these days, so don't find me there. You can find me on Threads or Instagram or Facebook. If you go to my website, crystalking.com, everything, everywhere I'm at is linked
Okay.
there. I am really loving Threads these days. There's a lot of book people there so I just find it very enjoyable. And so
Are you on Book Talk too?
I am a bit. So you can find me there. I'm not as prolific there as I probably should or could be. But you never know where that goes in the future. So,
All right. All right. Well, everybody go grab a copy of The Garden of Monsters. It sounds so fantastic. And right now, Hades and Persephone retellings are really hot. So if you're into Greek mythology, definitely give this one a try.
Also,
And
it's the 100-year anniversary of Surrealism, and Salvador Dali is in the book. So, yeah.
there you go. So you'll be right with the trends. So everybody go grab that book. And thanks so much for being here, Crystal. It was great chatting with you, and good luck on whichever
you.
project your editor picks.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us on Booklights. Be sure to connect with us at www.readersentertainment.com for articles, blogs, videos, and podcasts that matter to readers.